Salutations, generals, captains, and soldiers. This is Frags from Frags of War, and today I'm going to be talking to you about a little game called Warchief. And this game, they just released a demo on the currently running Steam Next Festival. And this is a little game that I feel like, it's not getting that much sort of attention. Not many people are actually playing this, but I think that there's some really cool, like on its foundation, it has some pretty cool ideas to it. And basically what Warchief is a game that, think an RTS like WarCraft 3 for instance, think a MOBA like DOTA 2 for instance, and then think a deck builder like Hearthstone for instance. What if you mash them all up into one sweet little package and present it as an RTS game that is unique and is going for its own sort of flavor? And that's basically what Warchief is, right? Warchief is being developed by a small indie studio from France. They've had a closed beta and they've basically got the base of the game ready, but a lot of the other mechanics and stuff they aren't really sure. I mean, of course, balancing, there's a lot of balancing to be done. This is a free to play game, by the way, so you can expect certain elements of paying for skins for instance, which the developers have mentioned that they aren't really sure how they're going to monetize the game yet, but you can expect that there is some sort of monetization there, and hopefully it's not a pay to win sort of thing. But what they have right now looks interesting, I must say. So how does the game work? On the onset, first of all, when you look at it, the game looks very pleasing, right? This is one of the reasons why I actually decided to talk about this game. It's a nice looking game. I mean, it's not Crisis level uber graphics sort of stuff, but it's cartoonish and it's pleasing, nice design and stuff, decent animation, although the animations will be improved over time. That's the first thing which actually caught my attention. The graphics look nice. It looks like a very simple sort of RTS, which it is a simple sort of RTS. So the second thing that sort of made me interested is that I have never been a huge fan of MOBA games like Dota 2 and League or LOL or League of Legends. I've never been a huge fan of those sort of games, although I do watch like pro players playing it and stuff. I've never really got into them myself. I've always been interested in playing a Dota game, but Dota tend to focus on a lot of like micromanagement and spell casting and like those sort of stuff, you need skills and stuff. This game is sort of making it a lot more macro. It's clearly inspired by MOBAs, definitely, because the map is littered with creep. So the thing is that you collect resources. The only resources in the game is gold, alright? And experience, of course, so that's a different kind of resource. So gold is something you collect by defeating creeps around the map. Pretty much like MOBA, right? That's what you've got to do. When you start the game, you've got your little hero unit there. You've got to go and immediately slay some like creeps, right? And then get some gold and then hire some people. That's basically the beginning stages of the game. There's only one map in the demo. It's pretty much this map here that you're looking at. There's two gold mines in this map. If you take control of the gold mine, which is actually guarded by some neutral creeps, you build a mine on top of it. And that basically increases the rate at you actually collect gold. So gold is something that actually increases at a certain rate every second. So if you got a gold mine, that rate of acquisition of gold increases right every second as well. So you really want to get that gold mine. So the third thing is that there's also these, how should I put it, neutral monsters, right? Neutral monsters on the map, which kind of reminds you of like Dota 2, right? You know how Dota 2 has Roshan, right? It's like a neutral monster that either side tries to actually take out to get like a big boost of like XP or some sort of item or something like that. So in this game there are two monsters. One is I guess he looks like Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy, for some reason, and then the other one, which is like a giant eyeball. So the giant eyeball, I can't recall what the names are, but you can see in the video, the giant eyeball, basically if you defeat him, he's basically a scout. It actually goes and scouts the enemy base. It just goes to the enemy base, so it gives you a bit of visual on the enemy's base. And the other guy, which is a Groot guy, if you defeat him, he becomes a unit in your army actually, which is a really powerful, like a tanky sort of character. the objective of the game is to destroy your opponent's base, right? So that base consists of two towers, cannon towers, and a castle. So once you've actually defeated all these units, right, it's pretty easy actually. It's not super difficult. It's not as difficult as Dota 2 or even League of Legends, right? Then you basically win the match. So the way the game actually plays is the armies are pretty, consider this like a micro RTS. Yeah, I don't know if anyone's coined the term micro RTS, but this game is certainly a micro RTS. You're controlling a small group of units. I mean, we're probably talking about I don't know, maybe about 10 maximum, around there, you know, like 10, 7 to 10 ish, like that, because there's also a cap, right? There's definitely a cap of units you can have, and there's a castle. Your own castle, you can upgrade it 2 times to 3-tier castles. So each tier will actually unlock a different set of units. There's tier 1 units, there's tier 2 units, and tier 3 units. So you obviously also want to upgrade your castle. You know, it sort of has that like RTS sort of mechanic of actually upgrading up a sort of very simplistic sort of building chain. But there's no building or anything, there's no base building per se here. You can't build other defensive structures, which is actually one of my gripes in this game, is that if you take out a gold mine, and because you only have like 10 units or something, you can't basically leave these units to guard like your gold mine, so you've got to go around the map, and then the enemy can actually come and attack your gold mine, and there's no way to actually defend that. I mean, there's no way for you to actually build a defensive tower, and that's a bit of a problem. So there's a lot of like running back and forth. Like if the developers can actually solve that problem, I mean, that would be great. I think it's a pretty cool like map control sort of micro RTS game. I did enjoy it. I don't think this demo actually did much justice. First of all, not many people are actually playing it, so I didn't actually get into like a match with like a proper player who knows how to play the thing. But it shows a bit of promise. I kind of like the idea that they're going for. This is, I've got to say, it's not a super hardcore RTS, right? Think of it like a casual mini micro RTS, as I said. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I did enjoy it for what it is. It would be much more enjoyable. I will say this though, this game is probably way more enjoyable to be played in 2v2. Speaking of 2v2, right, so currently what game modes the game supports is that I believe this is what the developers have said. There will be ranking matches in either 1v1s or 2v2s, right? And you can also play the AI. The AI is kind of broken, I feel. Like, I think insane AI gets some unfair advantages from the beginning. And yeah, so if you play normal AI, I find it a bit too passive. Sometimes I see the hero just chilling in the castle, but you know, the game's in early development still, so yeah, that I can't really comment about that. Okay, so how is this game similar to Hearthstone? So you see, the game also has a deck building mechanic, and that's possibly a problem for the game, which I'll touch a little bit shortly. The fact that, so there are many different sides, from orcs and goblins and like knights and undead, and the thing is that they all have their sets of like characters or units rather. You can actually purchase a unit from a different sort of faction and make your own deck. If you do that, right, certain units sort of counter certain other units better. You could actually completely bork your game. And I find that in an RTS game, if the game is too one-sided towards a particular build, I find that balancing it's like you could have lost the game even before you started the game. You know what I mean? You're playing a faction which has a majority of a certain type of units, but your deck that you have actually set up these units that you can actually call on the field, you don't really have like a natural counter to those units, so it's going to be a bit of a challenge for you. Like, that's one of the problems of actually having a deck building mechanic in an RTS, which you have to counter even before like you even start the game. But I think as long as the hard counters that they have for each of those units are not so tough, like you could still make do with some other units to actually counter certain other units, I think then it would be safe, right? It would be all right, I think. Like for instance, this particular game that I used skeletons, right? A unit which aren't really good as melee character actually. So obviously you can see here that the game also has some sort of like a payment, a point system thing, and you can possibly purchase like other cards in the future, or rather units, I guess, and sort of add them onto their roster. So exactly which part would be pay, which is the paywall, I think the developers have not mentioned it, but right now they're actually running a closed beta. So after the Steam Next Festival, they are bound to actually open up another round of people to test the closed beta. So if you probably want to get into beta, check out the game. You can actually check out the game now, right? The Steam Next Festival, you can join in their Discord and find out like how to actually sign up for the closed beta. But overall, I would say that, you know, this is actually an unfinished game, by the way. It's still in development. I must say that I liked what I saw. I think there's definitely some problems with the game, but you know, it's a game in development, so things like balance and polish and things like that. In fact, the animations and the graphics, they are also improving those things. Pathfinding, as you can see in this video, is still a bit of an issue, but again, they could fix all those things. So yeah, that's my thoughts about Warchief. I really think that this is a pretty good, like decent micro RTS, I guess you can call it, that is not really getting that many people playing it, you know. So if you're looking for something that mixes a bit of MOBA with like a traditional RTS, like very simple RTS, like I think Warchief is something that I probably would actually follow and see how things go from there. So yeah, I mean, if you've played Warchief, tell me what you think in the comments, you know. Do you like it, or what you think is not so great about it and stuff. Just let's have this discussion about Warchief. So yeah, that's it from me, Frags, and I will see you in the next video. Be sure to actually subscribe to this channel if you like the content that I create, strategy game focus, and make sure you check out my Twitch streams on Twitch. Just head on over to Twitch and you can find it. The links in the description. Is frags as well, you can't miss it. And yeah, take care and bye bye, soldiers.